So, the subject tonight is Prahlada Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. The contrast between both of them, similarities also. So, okay, this is the verse. Please remind me.
4, 9, 30 and 31.
4, 9, 30, 31.
Yes, ma'am.
Ready? Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswati vyasam Tato jayamudiraye Nasta prayesha vadreshu Vidyam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naishtiti Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Namo bhagavate vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam for Canto, Chapter 9, Text 30 and 31. Dhruva Maharaj returns home.
Dhruva vacha
Samadhina naika bhavena yatpadam Vidusanandadaya Udvaretasaha Masairaham Shadvit Amushya Padayos Chayam Upetya Pagata Pritamati Translation: Dhruva Maharaj thought to himself, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, who practiced Astanga Yoga and trance, attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet only after many, many births. Within 6 months, I achieved the same result, yet due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position. In this verse, Dhruva Maharaj himself explained the cause of his moroseness. First, he laments that to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly is not easy. Even great saintly persons like the 4 celebrated brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, Sanaka, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar, practiced the yoga system for many, many births, and remained in trance before getting the opportunity to see the Supreme Lord face to face. As far as Dhruva Maharaj was concerned, he saw the Supreme Lord personally after only 6 months of practice in devotional service. He expected, therefore, that as soon as he met the Supreme Lord, the Lord would take him to his abode immediately, without waiting. Dhruva Maharaj could understand very clearly that the Lord had offered him the rule of the world for 36,000 years, because in the beginning he was under the spell of the material energy and wanted to take revenge against his stepmother and rule over his father's kingdom. Dhruva Maharaj greatly lamented his propensity for ruling the material world and its revengeful attitude toward other living entities. I was born in darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master should have now opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble expecting obeisance and So the story of Dhruva Maharaj is very instructive from different points of view. First, he was the son of Maharaj Uttanapad, and his mother Suniti and his stepmother Suruchi. So he saw his stepbrother sitting on the lap of his father. So he naturally, a small boy, he also wanted to sit on the lap of his father. Natural thing. But the stepmother Suruchi prohibited it. So, no, you are not qualified to sit there. You have to be born from my womb to be able to sit there. Just see, she was telling you have to die and take birth again from my womb to be qualified to sit on the lap of your father. Imagine how hurtful to a child, saying such hurtful words, Words are like arrows. When once you shoot, you can't take it back. It's gone. So one should be very careful when speaking not to hurt anybody's feelings. It's worse sometimes than the real arrow. Hurt more for a longer time. If you get caught or something, you cure in a few weeks, few days. But if somebody hurt you, you're feeling a very strong word that can remain for years with you. So we have to be very careful. The devotee should be, compassionate and tolerant, strict with ourselves, very, very tolerant and compassionate with others. That's the instruction. But Dhruva Maharaj was a chatty, so he could not tolerate. So he went to his mother, Suniti, and told her what happened. And he told her, please help. I can't tolerate this. And the mother said, I'm very sorry, my dear son. I'm not so helpless. I'm not in favor of what happens to you, but the king is more attached to his other wife, Suruchi. So he neglects me. So that's why I'm helpless too. The only person who can help you is the Supreme Lord. And where can I find the Lord? Oh, I hear great sages go to the forest to meditate on the Lord. So you can go there, try to find His favor. So a small boy, 5 years old, he went to the forest. Of course, Sri Krishna said Narad Muni to test the boy. So Narad Muni, as a guru, was testing him. He told me, my dear child, you are too young to come to the forest to austerity. Go back, you be tolerant, forgive your stepmother, be tolerant, go back. When you are grown up, you can come, I will teach you how to meditate on the Lord. Now you are too young for that. But Dhruva Maharaj was very determined. That's good instruction for Brahman to be tolerant. I'm not a Brahman, I'm a Kshatriya. My blood is boiling up. I can't tolerate the insult. So either you please help me, tell me how to please the Lord, to achieve what I want, or not. So Ramuni understood that he was very determined as a small boy. So he gave him instruction how to meditate on the Lord, and he taught him to chant this mantra. We chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He instructed him, first, you only eat fruit that falls from the tree. Can't pluck them, you have to fall by their own. And drink the water of the river. Crystal like water. And chant this mantra over. So he was doing this tapasya, and after some time, he stopped eating the fruit. He was eating only the leaves that fall from the tree. And after some time, he stopped eating even that. He would drink only the water. And then he stopped drinking water. He was just breathing. Now, And after some time, at the end of the 6 months, he stopped even breathing. He went into trance, complete trance, So the devatas and heavenly planets could not breathe. They were having difficulty to breathe. So they thought, Lord Brahma, please help us, this child, doing so severe austerity, we can't even breathe. So of course, he prayed the Lord Vishnu, and the Lord appeared to him, And this form of the Lord that appeared to him for our form, it's actually, Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva Devaki, and he told them that this is my third time I'm your son. First, before that, I was Vamanadev, you were Kashyapa, and before that, you were. I'm trying to remember who. I was Prishingarva, and Sutapa Krishna. So this Prishingarva is the one who appeared to Dhruva Maharaj, no? That particular avatar of Krishna. So the boy was in total ecstasy, I mean, in 6 months, he was able to have darshan of the Lord face to face. 6 months, so severe austerities. But his desire was to worship the Lord, to get the kingdom better than the kingdom of his grandfather. His grandfather was about Brahma. So he wanted a better kingdom than his own grandfather. So, but after seeing the Lord, he regretted that. He's saying, he considered that to fall down, to worship the Lord for material purposes. It's not the best thing, of course. And he didn't know how to pray to the Lord, small child. So the Lord touched his head with his conscience, and he started saying beautiful prayer. In one of his prayers, he said, Swami Kritartos Mimbaram Nayache, my dear Lord. I don't want any material benedictions. I'm just fully satisfied just by having your darshan. I don't want nothing else. So that's the beauty of devotional service. Somebody may start devotional service with some material desire, but if one keeps practicing, keep chanting, eventually one will be free from those desires, and one will keep the desire only to love and serve Krishna. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. That is explained in the second canto of the Bhagavatam. Sarvokama, what is the verse? Akama sarvokamo va mokshakamo dharaniti vrena bhakti yogina yeta purusham param. That either you are full of material desire or have no desire or have desire for liberation, one should worship the Supreme Lord through Bhakti Yoga. That will take us to the highest goal of life. The highest goal of life is to achieve love for Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So, Dhruva Maharaj said, my dear Lord, I regret I was worshiping you to get some material benefit. I was like looking for broken glasses thrown on the street, but instead of that, I got the most beautiful jewel in the form of a lordship. So he was very much sorry, and he was regretful in his heart about that. And he was like expecting the Lord would take me with him right now to Vaikuntha. But no, the Lord gave him the blessing to rule the world for so many thousands of years.
36,000.
56,000 of years. A lot of time. So, but the Lord fulfilled his promise. Since the highest planet in this universe is Brahmalok, there is no higher planet in this universe than Brahmalok, except one. Which one? Wasn't Dhruva yet. Was not Shivaloka either. Was the name before Dhruva and was another name. Svetadip. That Lord Vishnu resides there. The milk ocean is there. It's the pole star. And Chirodakashai Vishnu, he lives there, that planet. So it's a Vaikuntha planet. What is within the material world, when this material world is destroyed, that planet is not destroyed. It's above the laws of nature. So, at the time of his death, Dhruva Maharaj, the death came for him. But he stepped on the head of death, and the Vaikuntha Biman came, and he climbed the Vaikuntha Biman, was going to Dhruva. Now, while going there, he remembered his mother. My poor mother stepped behind, but he turned his eyes back and he saw another Biman with his mother coming. So just because she gave him instruction, she could not do austerities like him, but because she gave him the instruction to worship the Lord, that's why she got also the benefit. And Prabhupada's great humbleness, he said, I'm also an old man, I can't do austerity like Dhruva Maharaj, but if one of my disciples can do austerity, he can take me to Vaikuntha. Imagine how humble Prabhupada is, no? Amazing. So there's the story of Dhruva Maharaj. Let's read text 31. Ahobata mama natnyam mandavagyasya pashyata bhavachiga padam moolam tatvaya chayad antava. Allah, just look at me. I am so unfortunate. I approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death. But still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable. The word anatmyam is very significant in this verse. Atma means the soul. Anatmya means without any conception of the soul. Srila Vishwanadev instructed his sons that unless a human being comes to the point of understanding the Atma or a spiritual position, whatever he does is ignorance, and this brings only defeat in his life. Dhruva Maharaj regrets his unfortunate position, for although he approached the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always able to give his devotee the highest benediction of cessation of the repetition of birth and death, which is impossible for any demigod to offer. He foolishly wanted something perishable. When Hiranyakashipu asked immortality from Lord Brahma expressed his inability to offer such a benediction because he himself is not immortal. Therefore, immortality or complete cessation of the chain of repeated birth and death can be offered by the Supreme Lord, the Personality of God and himself, not by others. Harim Pina Naiva Samitim Taranti. It is said that without the blessing of Harim, the Supreme Personality of God, no one can stop the continuous chain of birth and death within this material world. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is also called Bhavachit. The Vaishnava philosophy, in the process of Krishna consciousness, prohibits the devotee from all kinds of material aspiration. The Vaishnava devotee should always be Anyabilashita Shunya, free from all material aspirations for the result of fruitive activities or empiric philosophical speculation. Dhruva Maharaj was actually initiated by Narad Muni, the greatest Vaishnava, in the chanting of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This mantra is a Vishnu mantra. For by practicing the chanting of this mantra, one is elevated to the Vishnu Lord. Dhruva Maharaj regrets that although he was initiated in the Vishnu mantra by a Vaishnava, he still aspired for material benefit. That was another cause for lamentation. Although he got the result of the Vishnu mantra by the causeless mercy of the Lord, he lamented how foolish he was to have strived for material benefits while practicing devotional service. In other words, every one of us who is engaged in devotional service in Krishna consciousness should be completely free from all material aspirations. Otherwise, we will have to lament like Dhruva Maharaj. It's interesting, though, that Dhruva Maharaj at the end he was freed from that material desire. That because he started his worship of the Lord with a particular desire, so Krishna gave him liberation but also fulfilled his desire. which was to rule over the highest planet than Lord Brahma. That was his aspiration. So, in one sense, he got the ultimate goal, which is eternal life, Vaikuntha. But at the same time, he is lamenting that my first purpose wasn't completely pure. So, every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So, anyone can come to the highest platform of Krishna consciousness by practicing and by the mercy of the Lord. Endeavor and devotional service and mercy of the Lord, they go together. So, the thing is the problem is not to have material aspiration or desire. The problem is the not act upon it, rather ignoring it. Meaning, the devotee should pray, I want to be free from material desire so I can serve the Lord purely without any ulterior motivation. That's the aspiration, should be. First thing, one should become Anyavilasita Shuddha. One should be free from bodily identification, conceptions of life, wrong conception of life. The first thing. If somebody still believes the body, we will not know what is the goal of life. So first we have to understand who we actually are, and act upon that understanding. And that's called self-realization. What is that verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Na sochati na kanchati samasarveshu bhuteshu bhakti bhavateshanatma Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kanchati. So, a person who is Brahma bhuta, self-realized, prasannatma is joyful. Prabhupada said the devotee should be joyful. If it's not joyful, means it's been attacked by mind. Why the devotee should be joyful? Because Krishna is always joyful. If we are part of Krishna, we also should be joyful. If we are serving Krishna, there is no reason to be unhappy. Aldonaro Das Thakur, in his prayer to Nityananda Prabhu, he said, Aha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi, Kripa Varo Kana Koro Ami Varo Dukhi. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always blissful. Nityananda means eternally happy. I am coming to you because I am dukhi. I am suffering. I'm sad. Please make me sukhi like you. So, also, there's a different level of actually higher even apparent sadness by feeling separation from the Lord. Looks the devotee is suffering, but it's not actually suffering. It's another type of enjoyment to miss the Lord, to hanker after his darshan. Prabhupada said that the devotee who goes to Vrindavan searching for the Lord, it is as good as seeing the Lord. It is because of the intensity of their desire to meet the Lord. You remember once I told you a story about the thief that he went to Vrindavan to steal from Krishna. Do you remember the story? Who doesn't remember to know the story? The majority knows the story. The story is that this thief, he was hiding from the police and entered the temple and mixed with many thousand people there, so he would not be found. And the speaker was talking about Krishna and Vrindavan and how he was nicely decorated with beautiful ornament and necklaces made of gold with valuable stones. So the thief became very interested and to know more about Krishna, but with the idea to steal from him. So he asked the speaker where he can find Krishna. Oh, Krishna lives in Vrindavan. Oh, very nice, thank you. So he went to Vrindavan and he asked somebody, first person, can you tell me where Krishna lives? Oh, Krishna lives in Nandagram. His father, Ananda Maharaj, and Yashoda. But at this time, he's in the forest around tending the cows. Who knows, if you are fortunate, you may see him. So the thief went there searching for Krishna day and night. Of course, he could not find him. But after like 2 weeks searching, his desire became very, very strong. It's like if you put the lion to fast for a week, his hunger becomes very strong. That's in mind another story. I will tell you that other story also. The other story is once a barber, he didn't have a shop, but he would go town to town and do his job, cutting hair. One day, to have a shortcut to go down, he passed to the forest. And he saw a lion and frightened, but he saw that the lion was in pain because his leg was pierced by a sharp, thorn. So he wanted to help the lion. So he approached the lion, took his tools, and he took the sharp thorn from the lion's leg, and he cured his wound and everything, and he left. So then, after some time, he went one town, and he was doing a job in one house. And then the house next to it, the thief came in and murdered the person, and steal the money. So the soldiers sent by the king to find the murderer. And they saw this barber. Oh, you are not from this town, you're new. And they searched him, he had a lot of money on him. Well, from where you got all this money? Well, I'm a barber, and I don't have bank account, I just put the money in my pocket whenever I go town to town. But nobody knows you. You must be the murderer. Nobody else around here knows you. So they put him in jail. Said, no, I'm innocent, I haven't, no. So anyway, the king asked, did you caught the murderer? Yes, we caught him. So how we are gonna chastise him? Life for a life. That's the very way. And that's actually a favor to the murderer because they're hanged by the king. The next life, they don't born with this karma. They already paid for it. Capital punishment. So what the king said, I'm going to hang you? No. The prime minister said, we caught a lion a week ago and we're having him fasting for a full week. So the idea is to frighten people from being murderers or criminals. We're going to put this lion, he's already in a big, cage. We're going to put him in the main square in the town, and we push this man inside the cage. So the lion is very hungry, so he will eat him. So people get frightened to be criminal. That was the idea. So they pushed this poor barber inside the cage, and the lion was gonna jump at him. But as soon as he smelled him, he became like a very soft cat. And the barber was caressing him and everything. And that was the same lion that he helped him take out the thorn from his paw. So even first animal are grateful. Somebody helped him, he's grateful. Although he was very hungry, he would not eat him. He was grateful. How much we human beings should be grateful to one another for any little help or any nice word, any lesson we receive from others, we should be grateful. So the king said, oh, this man must be innocent. Otherwise, how is possible the lion not eating him, being so hungry? He must be innocent. Let him go. So we go back to the story of the thief. So because his desire became very, very strong. So, although he was not qualified, but his eagerness became so strong that Krishna appeared. So that's the price to pay to achieve spiritual perfection. Lauliam, extreme hankering, very, very one-pointed hankering. So, and he approached Krishna. Krishna was sitting under a rock, under a tree, on the rock, under a tree. And Maharaj, Krishna, Dandava, Prana, he saw the necklace, golden necklace with valuable stone. And he said, oh dear Krishna, your father Nanda Maharaj sent me here to ask you to give me this necklace to take home because some fish may be around. It's a dangerous situation. Krishna smiled, oh no. If there was such a danger, Mother Yashoda would not have put this on me. No, even Mother Yashoda told me, don't come back without this necklace. Krishna smiled, never heard there were thieves around. Maybe you are the thief. Yes. To be honest, Krishna, yes, I'm a thief. But I'm a poor man, you are rich, and you're so beautiful. I'm sure you have many of those necklaces. To give me one is no big deal for you. Please give me. Krishna said, oh no, how can I do that? If I return home without necklace, Mother Yashoda will be angry at me. I don't want to have any trouble, No, she would forgive you. You are a dear son. They were exchanging beautiful words like that. Finally, Krishna smiled at him, took the necklace, was gone and gave to him. And the king and the thief's heart melted completely. He fell at Krishna's feet. My dear Lord, I only want to be your eternal servant. You conquered my heart. You're loving. He entered me. He was conquered by love. So that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. When they come for many reasons. But Krishna finally, he was the highest level. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna speaks to say, this fool come to me to worship me for material purpose. But why should I give him poison? Should I give him rather nectar? So Krishna doesn't always fulfill the material desire. Rather, he gives the best, the nectar of the spiritual life. So we hope that we will not what happened to Maharaj will not happen to us. Because there are four types of people who approach Krishna, those who are in distress, those who are in need, those who are curious, and those who are seeking the truth. So the one who is seeking the truth is accepted as the highest, because more or less is a spiritual, is this purpose. But Krishna accepts all of them as spies. As spies. Why? Because so few people approach God in this world. So many millions of people. Very few people are interested in God. Even for material purpose, they consider it very pious. Because they don't go to anyone else but to God, to Krishna, to fulfill their desire, their needs, whatever. But when they advance further, they forget their initial, the needs, and they develop the spiritual needs. So that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Remember the story of Shurpanaka, Ravana's sister. She saw Lord Ramchandra in the forest, became immediately very lusty after him, very attracted to him. So she changed her form to a beautiful girl. She's a witch, very ugly. But she had mystic power. So she approached Ramchandra. You are so handsome, so beautiful. Please marry me. Ramchandra said, oh, I'm very much, what do you call them? Proud. What is the word? I'm very flattered that such a beautiful girl wants to marry me. But see, I have already a wife, Sutta Devi. But my brother Lakshman is free, go to him. So she went to Lakshman. You are also very handsome and beautiful. Why please marry me? Like, oh, I'm very flattered too. I mean, such a beautiful young girl like you. But you don't want to marry a servant. I'm the servant of my brother. He's the king. You don't want to marry a servant. No, ask him again. Insist on him. So she went back to Lord Ramchandra, insisting, Ramchandra say, yes, yes, I know king can have more than one wife, but I made a vow, take a patni vow, only one wife. And it is my wife, Sita, please forgive me. Oh, because of her you can't marry me. I want to hurt her. So she was going to attack Sita, Lakshman. And the speaker chop off her nose and ears, so she went crying. But her next life, she was born in Mathura. And Krishna Balaram entered Mathura, she was Kubja, the hunchback. She saw Krishna made their attraction awakened again. She ran toward him. She was a servant of Kamsa. She had made sandalwood paste for Kamsa. But she applied this sandal on Krishna, all over his body, decorated his body, refreshing. Krishna accepted the service, smiled at her. And Krishna stepped on her feet, grabbed her cheek, and pulled out. As the hunchback disappeared, she became very beautiful. She was only 16 years old. And without the hunchback, she looked very nice, very beautiful. And Krishna was at home and put his feet on her chest, and she became completely beautiful. So just see, even somebody approached the Lord for any other motive, he will end up purified. So that's the lesson of the Dhruva Maharaj. Now we have to see Prahlada Maharaj. What is the verse for Prahlada Maharaj? You can ask questions about anything you like, yes.
So Maharaj, my quick question is just related to the last part that he ended up with Superman.
Yes.
Even in the ordinary case, I mean, sometimes we might feel that, it's the beauty of Ram that attracted Superman towards him.
Yeah.
Now, was it Superman's fault that Ram was so beautiful? And was it a fault of Superman to be attracted to a person who is the most beautiful in the planet? Top of that, she's not married, she lost her husband. And Lord Ram, why did he go to an extreme side of the punishment, saying, I'm not going to take you, top of that, I won't allow anyone to take you because I'm going to cut your nose. Because once you cut this figure, the ears and nose, no woman will be liked by anyone in the planet. Why did he go to such an extreme level?
No. The thing is, try to understand. The Lord was joking with her. He didn't have any bad feelings toward her or anything like that. But because she wanted to attack Sita Devi, harm Sita Devi, Lakshman the one who acted, immediately, because he's an eternal servant of Sita. So he could not tolerate that Sita Devi would be harmed by her. So that's why he killed her, but he didn't. Because the Vedas prohibit killing a woman. It's prohibited. That's why when Putana came to kill Krishna, Krishna closed his eyes for 3 reasons. Because Krishna was angry at her, she killed many babies sucking their blood. So Krishna closed his eyes, didn't want to see her. Second reason, Krishna wanted to give her assurance that he was a small baby sleeping harmless. Like that. And the third reason, let me remember the third reason.
She's a lady.
Yes, because she's a woman and it's prohibited in the Veda to kill a woman. So that's why he closed his eyes. So that's why they couldn't have killed her, but she didn't because she was wanted to kill Sita. So if somebody act like enemy want to kill your family, you are in the right to defend your family. That's what Lakshman did. So nothing wrong was there. That answered the question. I hope so.
Yeah, I was just thinking in a way, After all, because Lakshman is also Lord Balaram himself.
Yes.
And although Lakshman might have done it, but like the incidents of Lakshman in many of the cases are coordinated with Ram because he's as a servant of Ram.
No, yes, but he did it without asking Ram opinion. He just jumped in. He wasn't. When things have to happen immediately, you don't have time to to consult anything. You have to act. That's what happened. But see, as Krishna is more kind and merciful than Lord Ramchandra, he made her more beautiful in the next life. Because of her desire to harm Sita, she was born handbag. But Krishna accepted her service because more liberal. So what is the verse for
7:5:30? Maharaj.
So yes, please do. Yes, Prahlada Maharaj is one of the 12 Maharajas. Not Dhruva Maharaj, because the main reason was he started worshiping the Lord for material purpose. Dhruva Maharaj, right from the beginning, his worship the Lord was without material desires. He was born pure devotee. And so that's the main reason. And you hear the teaching of the Prahlada Maharaj, so high, so pure, 5-year-old boy speaking pure bhakti, pure devotional service.
Verse 30.
And 30?
Yes, first.
Okay, only this 30.
30 and 31, if time
Yeah, let's see if the time allows us.
Yeah, that's fine.
At least 30.
30, yeah.
So please chant. This is Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 30. Prahlada Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Shri Prahlada Uvacha.
Shri Prahlada Uvacha.
Tirna Krishna Parata Swatova.
Matirna Krishna Parata Swatova.
Tito Vipadyeta Grihavratanam.
Vito Vipadeta Dhruva.
Adanta Gobir Vichatam Tamisram.
Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tanishram.
Punat Punat Charvita Charvananam.
Punat Punat Charvita Charvananam.
Prahlada Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish condition and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by instruction of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. In this verse, the word Matirna Krishna refers to devotional service rendered to Krishna. So-called politicians, erudite scholars, and philosophers who read Bhagavad Gita try to twist some meaning from it to suit their material purposes, but their misunderstandings of Krishna will not yield them any profit. Because such politicians, philosophers, and scholars are interested in using Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for adjusting things materially, for them constant thought of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is impossible. Matirna Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1855, Bhaktimamba Vijanati. Only through devotional service can one understand Krishna as he is. The so-called politicians and scholars think of Krishna as fictitious. The politicians say that his Krishna is different from the Krishna depicted in Bhagavad Gita. Even though he accepts Krishna and Rama as the supreme, he thinks of Rama and Krishna as impersonal because he has no idea of service to Krishna. That his only business is Puna Puna Charvita Charvananam, chewing the chewed again and again. The aim of such politicians and academic scholars is to enjoy this material world with their bodily senses. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that those who are Grihavrata, whose only aim is to live comfortably with the body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. The two expressions, Grihavrata and Charvita Charvananam, indicate that the materialistic person tries to enjoy sense gratification in different bodily forms, life after life, but is still unsatisfied. In the name of personalism, this ism or that ism, such person always remain attached to the materialistic way of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 244, Bhoga Ishvarya Prasaktanam Taya Parita Chetasam Yavasayapnika Bhuti Samadau Navidiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Those who are attached to material enjoyment cannot be fixed in devotional service to the Lord. They cannot understand Bhagavan, Krishna, or his instruction, Bhagavad Gita. Adanta Tolit Vichatam Tamishtam, their path actually leads to an hellish life. As confirmed by Rishabhadev, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Yahuti Mukte. One must try to understand Krishna by serving a devotee. The word Mahat refers to a devotee. Mahatmanastumam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashvita, Vajantananya Manasu Yatta Bhutadi Madhya. O son of Rita, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of God, original and exhaustive. Bhagavad 9:15. The Mahatma is one who is constantly engaged in devotional service 24 hours a day. As explained in the following verses, unless one adheres to such a great personality, one cannot understand Krishna. Hiranyakashipu wanted to know where Prahlada had gotten this Krishna consciousness. Who had taught him? Prahlada sarcastically replied, my big father, a person like you never understand Krishna. One can understand Krishna only by serving a Mahat, a great soul. Those who try to adjust material condition are said to be chewing the chew. No one has been able to adjust material condition, but life after life, generation after generation, people try and repeatedly fail. Unless one is properly trained by a Mahatma or an alloyed devotee of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's understanding Krishna and his devotional service. Srila Prabhupada. Mahat Seva Param Vibhakti. So Prahlada Maharaj sarcastically answered his father, or from where he got this knowledge, understand. He said, a person like you are determined to enjoy the material world are not able to understand this, no matter how much hard you try. And what you're doing is punas punak charvita charvana, chewing the chew once and again and again. I remember when I was a child in school, when we entered the classroom, the professor saying, throw away your chewing gum. I don't know now. But nobody would throw away the chewing gum. Everybody would put it underneath there. When the bell rings, go outside and let it chew back in there. Try to get some sugar from it, whatever left. So this material life like that, chewing the chew. There's nothing new under the sun. Everywhere you go, people doing the same thing, eating, sleeping, making defending. Getting born, grow up, get old, get sick and die. Everywhere. The same business. Nothing new under the sun. I was giving once lecture in London, but there was nothing new under the cloud. No sun. Once Prabhupada was interviewed in London radio, and they asked about hell. He said, yes, another name of hell is London. Always dark and gloomy, rainy. and the interviewer was, like a little depressed, hearing that. So Prabhupada said that you British have great merit because and in spite of being in such a place, you were able to conquer the war, like that, and then on. Right, okay. So anyway, Prahlada Maharaj, he was born pure devotee. How is that? Because his father was curious from where this boy got this knowledge, this devotion to our enemy. And he asked the teachers, please be careful that no Vaishnava is squeezing in, in the school. Be careful, some spy may come in and spoil the children, Krishna consciousness. And Prahlada Maharaj, he will preach to his classmates, Yeah. And they would say, Prahlada, we are small children, let us play. When we grow up, we can say, no, life is short. Kaumara Acharit Pragyo, you must start from childhood, your spiritual life. Because then you spend most of your time playing, then at school, then they have to learn, they have to know how to get the job. When you get married, and then you have to spend so much time maintaining the family, half your time sleeping, and then decorating the body, and also then most life gone. So better take advantage from childhood. Do your best. Advance in Krishna consciousness. So the father was very concerned that the Prahlada was being preached by somebody. But he already was born. When his mother, what was her name? Kayadu was pregnant, Indra and Devata came to kill the child. They thought, one Hiranyakashipu is enough. We don't need another one. And they arrested the mother to take her. They wait until the child is born, kill it with demon. But Narada Muni came, no. This child is not demon. It's a great devotee. So, of course, they accept Narada as their spiritual master, so they respect. They circumambulated Kayadu and his son. They respect, as forgiveness. So Narada Muni took her to his ashram, and then he was teaching her. And the boy, when they reach 7 months, they can hear everything outside the wall. There was one story I heard some time ago that the pregnant lady, she would put some TV show at certain time of the day. They have some particular music or something. And when the child was born, he would cry. She would put that music, he would calm down because he remembered that particular song. So children can hear at the age of 7 months in the womb, they can hear that. So Prahlada heard everything from Narada Muni, and he was born already pure devotee. That's it. How fortunate we are. Now, from the Singha Puran, we find out that Lord Nrsimhadev, after he killed Hiranyakashipu and put Prahlada on his lap, and he was like, what do you call the word? He was licking his face, without fatherly affection. And Nrsimhadev was thinking, oh, this Vatsalya love is so nice, so beautiful. But unfortunately, I can't exchange this with my father. My father was a pillar. I can't exchange it with a pillar. So from now on, I will, other avatar, accept father, mother to exchange this Vatsalya, sweet Vatsalya love. So all other avatar after Nrsimhadev accepted father, mother, So then Prahlada Maharaj asked Nrsimhadev by this Lord, how I was able to, in this life, to be your devotee from birth, and please tell me about how this happened. So Lord Nrsimha told him, in your past life, you was a Brahmin, but you was fallen. You married a prostitute. And one day, you had a fight with her, and early morning you were upset, both of you, from each other, and you went out of the house, and she went out of the house, and you went into the forest, being upset with her and all this. And suddenly, a lion was chasing after you, and he was running for your life. And from time to time, you look back or you see the lion, roaring at you. You became frightened. But you are trying to meditate on me. Uh, uh, my form as a lion. But suddenly the meditation and my form appeared to you with the face of the lion. Because the lion was chasing after you. So in that way you meditated on me. Then you took shelter in an abandoned temple in the forest, and that temple was my temple. And that day was the day of my appearance in another Lila, Lila. No? And you met your wife, she also entered that same mandir. So all night you didn't sleep, both of you didn't eat or drink water, nothing. And you make peace between you and, because you fasted all day, all night, didn't sleep, not even water, in my appearance day. That's why in this life you are Prahlada Maharaj, my beautiful. And your wife, she's now your wife again. She will be your wife again in this life. She's also a great devotee. So just see, how things happen, in the life of devotees. Usually devotional service we carry from one life to the next life. If one feel attraction immediate in this life, that means you have some touch. There are three types of pious activities. Bhagavan-mukhi sukriti, moksha-mukhi sukriti, and bhakti-mukhi sukriti. Bhagavan-mukhi sukriti means pious activity that bring you material happiness, material enjoyment. Like helping the poor, opening hospital, opening school, opening abroad, giving medicine to somebody in need, whatever. This kind of pious activity may bring you material benefit, material happiness. It's called Bhagavan-mukhi sukriti. And moksha-mukhi sukriti means pious activity that bring you impersonal liberation. Like fasting, doing austerity, meditating on Brahman, like that. And bhakti-mukhi sukriti means pious activity that bring only bhakti, loving service to the Lord. And that's what in the Tulsi plant, following the Ekadasi, chanting the holy name, paying obeisance to the Lord, serving the devotees. This kind of activity accumulating brings attraction to devotional service to Krishna. So Prabhupada said, I'm giving opportunity to everyone to practice devotional service at least for some time. Many people read the book, they start the spiritual life. They may not become devotees, but the seed is already there. Next time they will continue. And they have accumulated enough, they become devotees. Or even they haven't accumulated enough. If they meet devotee here, they are sincere, they can become devotees. So the teaching of Prahlada Maharaj are very, very wonderful. We should read them. So deep, so profound from a small child, such transcendental knowledge. And the contrast between Dhruva and Prahlada is that both of them pure devotee. Dhruva became pure devotee. Although beginning he was not pure devotee. The thing is that they are both children. And they both, some or other, they understood the philosophy of Krishna. Prabhupada was criticizing the politicians who use sometimes they quote Bhagavad Gita. You see in India, politicians sometimes they quote Bhagavad Gita for their own purpose, or even scholars, philosophers, speculators. Prabhupada quote one such philosopher, speculator. He said, Krishna said, Sarva dharmam paritya jamamekam sharanam braja. Abandon all dharma, just surrender to me. And they write their own interpretation. No, we should not surrender to Krishna. Wait a minute, Krishna is saying surrender to me. How can you say it differently? But then they twist the word. They said, no, we should surrender to the inside of Krishna, not the outside. Oh, such flowery language, you know. You say, wow, they're committing big offense because they're making difference between the inside and the outside of Krishna. They're saying that Krishna has a material body. That's what they're saying. And many Mayavadi think like that. Okay, he's God, but when he comes to the material world, he must take the material body. But Krishna is not under the laws of nature. He doesn't come here because of karma. He comes by his own sweet will. It's like prisoners, if they see the king entering the prison house to, to watch them, whatever. Oh, the king is inside the prison. He must be prisoner like us. That's their foolishness. So the same way, these ignorant people, they think Krishna is one of them. He must take material body. And when he goes, he again becomes Brahman, no form, arupa. That's the misinterpretation. Although Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad very clearly, I come in my eternal form, in my eternal internal potency. But they misinterpret it, like that. What is that verse Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita? Avajanati mamudhamanushitam mashitam parambhavamanjanantu mama bhuta mahashvara. That the rascal fools, they deride me when I come in human-like form. They don't know my transcendental position and my lordship over everything that exists. Krishna himself declared them fools. Buddha. Papa like to use that word very much. Fools and rascals. Papa said, I can't speak like that. You should not. Anyway. All right. So we can stop here. If you have any comment, question, please do. Yes.
Maharaj, sorry. That I want to ask that only 3 days we cannot come back to the world. Like if you do Ram Bhakti, Vishnu Bhakti, or Krishna Bhakti, right? So, like if you do Vishnu Bhakti, Ram Bhakti, or Krishna Bhakti, we are not going to come back to this material world. Right?
No?
Yeah. So if someone is a very sincere bhakt of Ram and he's like very much like how great sannyasis of our ISKCON are devoted to Krishna, how he is also devoted to Ram. So the question is like we should try to reach them are like Krishna is like the supreme personality of Godhead? If yes, then how, and if no, then why?
Everybody understood the question? Yeah. I'm going to repeat the question. The question is, what about devotees of Lord Ram, for example? They're following everything. Should we preach them about Krishna also? Why not? You say, we also accept Lord Ram as the Supreme Lord. But remember the Brahma Samhita was saying, Ramadi Murtishu Kalam Yamena Tishtam Nanavataram Karutu Vaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyu Govindamadi Purusham Tamam. Beginning with Lord Ram, all our expansion of Krishna or expansion of the expansion of Krishna. Krishna is the original, Supreme Personality of God. So that we can preach because it's the truth. Okay, so if you worship Lord Ram, you go Ayodhya. Ayodhya is a Vaikuntha plan. No harm. But Krishna is more attractive. more beautiful, more liberal. Lord Rama accepted only one wife. Krishna accepted so many souls. It's more liberal, more caring. Like that. So we can preach that. Why not? Rupa Sanatana had a brother, Anupama, Vallabha. He was devotee of Lord Ramchandra. They tried to preach to him about Krishna. He tried to worship Krishna. But he came to them crying, I'm very sorry. I can't stop worshiping Lord Ram because like separating my head from my body is very painful. So they praised him. You are a great devotee of Lord Ramchandra. Because once the Swarup is established in the soul, he can't change it. That particular attraction becomes steady bound, permanent bound, then he can't change that. But if the person haven't arrived yet there, he can change. No? Isn't? I mean, I've known devotees of Lakshmi Narayan, they become devotees of Radha Krishna. Why not? They are more attractive, more beautiful. It's the truth. So if they accept, that's all right. They don't accept, okay, keep worshiping Sitaram. That's also very nice. Lakshmi Narayan, Sitaram, Radha Krishna. It's a different rasa. Eternal life is there. Bhakti is there, no doubt. The rasa, highest rasa. Krishna's Ananda Mayo Vyasat, the origin of all Ananda. And the highest platform of Ananda is Vrindavan Lila. Pastimes of Vrindavan, sweetest. So, we should preach that. I think we give the information. It's up to them.
Maharaj, I had a question somewhat related to this. So, in the different Vaishnava sampradayas, will there be, for a pure devotee of each sampradaya, do they have different destination or destinations, like ultimately for different realizations? And how would you explain this?
He's asking a different devotee from different sampradaya have different realization or they come to the same conclusion. Well, the same conclusion is one has to become pure devotee of the Lord, give up material desires, surrender to the Lord. That's the ultimate conclusion of all sampradayas, all pure devotees. Now, somebody become pure devotee of Lakshmi Narayan, he goes to Vaikuntha. Become pure devotee of Sitaram, he goes Ayodhya. Become pure devotee of Hare Krishna, he goes to Golok. Well, I rectify, doesn't go to Golok. Go to Gokul. Let me explain. Pure devotees of Krishna, they can't go directly to Golok. Not possible. Why? Because first they have to become part of Krishna's family first. And for that, they have to be born in another universe, local Vrindavan, where Krishna performing his pastime. They have to be born from the womb of a gopi, become part of Krishna's friend and family. Whatever rasa he may be, a friend or gopi, whatever, Vatsalya or Tasya or whatever, then he's introduced to Krishna for the first time. Prabhupada explained that in the Krishna book. And then from there, Krishna takes him to Golok. Because already everybody knows him. He's part of the family. It's not you just arrive Golok and who's this person? Nobody knows. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. So our goal is not Golok, it's Gokul. All right. You have to offer the lamp now. Thank you very much for coming and listening and asking nice questions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Sundar Goswami Maharaj ki
Yeah.
Prasadam prayer.